All right. We are back with another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club. I hope you guys are having a great day, great week, wherever you are and whatever day it is for you. As always, it is Friday on the podcast, so we're bringing that good Friday energy to you. It is nice and cloudy here in Seattle, just as we expect in the spring, but I am looking forward to the sun. It's right around the corner. I actually just got back from a due diligence trip. My partner and I are buying a mobile home park out in Pennsylvania. And it was the first time I'd been to Pennsylvania. Very beautiful city. And the people were so nice. So Pennsylvania, you rock. Thank you for having us. And that brings us to our guest today, Charlie Panayi. Sorry, Charlie, I forgot to ask how to pronounce your last name. I know I murdered that. Charlie's over there. He's originally from London and Cyprus, or from England and Cyprus, and he's all over the world. But he is an investor and a coach, and we're excited to jump into this. Charlie, thanks for hopping on.
No, thanks for having me.
And you got to correct me on your last name. I apologize for not. I forgot to ask you.
The first version was correct, Panayi.
Panayi. Okay, there we go. Yeah. Right on. Well, Charlie, we always start with stories. We like to hear how people got to where they are. So why don't you take us back to the beginning of your story in real estate and just tell us how you got here?
I'll give you a quick version. I was probably quite a sad / clever, lucky 7-year-old who just decided that actually I wanted to be free. And I didn't know that was going to be property at that age. I just knew I was very lucky. In my community in London, no one ever went on holiday. My mum and dad took us away once a year. A little bit cheating, it turns out, in hindsight, because we're going to Cyprus to see family, so probably free somewhat. But nevertheless, I realised, well, wait a minute, my mum and dad work 7 days a week, they work hard, so money is that freedom. And around about 11, I associated property. I can't tell you why I decided property and real estate was the answer. I don't even know the rationale. So I just started learning as much as I could. You know, I've surrounded myself with any one of my families that were good with money or good work ethic. And I've worked from 12 at lots of different places, supermarkets, a market, all sorts of things. And I bought my first apartment when I turned 18, the day of my 18th birthday. I actually had a couple of properties before 18, but it was sort of leased because obviously legally in the UK, you can't complete before 18. So I was actually a landlord.
You can't buy property before you're 18 in the UK?
Not the completion. You can in trust and things like that. But when I bought 20 years, it's quite scary when I say that, nearly 20 years ago, it was a bit different. So we had them under lease terms and things like that. But one I officially owned myself was 18th birthday. That's when I completed. And I was pretty aggressive really from there. I wasn't actually that well educated in property. I thought I was. So I wouldn't.
You don't know until you do. You don't know how much you don't know. That's the phrase.
I wouldn't say I made lots of mistakes because I've not, touched wood, lost any money in property, any form of real estate that I've done. But obviously I was quite aggressive. I was making good money. I used to be an account director for Europe's biggest training and mystery shopping company. So I was creating the sales experiences and customer programs of some of the biggest companies in the world. So I was making good money and I was buying property. So that was logic. And I sort of learned how to do things along the way. Like I said, I would say mistakes, but I still made money. It's just what I know now. I would have made a hell of a lot quicker. So yeah, I was pretty aggressive up to the age of like 25. And then I sort of paused somewhat really and started helping other people do things and still buy stuff, but not as aggressive as I once was, shall we call it.
Yeah, that makes sense. So tell us about the specific type. I mean, tell us about the nitty gritty details of your career, of your portfolio. Like when, between 18 and 25, you said you were pretty aggressive. What were your strategies during that time?
Again, uneducated. So for me, it was, I wanted to force value. So what I saw as a really good opportunity, I still see it now, and I also buy companies as well as businesses, real estate, sorry. There's the same opportunity in both. So big developments, you've got lots of big players that want it. The smaller developments / little flips, as we call it in Europe, refurbishing, the big players don't want that. There's not enough money in it. But then the everyday person doesn't have the ability or know-how how to buy those. So for me, I was, again, fell on this, sort of realised, well, wait a minute, I can force value. So I'd always want to buy below market value. But these are actually loads of people, too many people, in my opinion, always look for this big flip, this big renovation project. Actually, where I made some real money was, let's find the ones that actually they're just not that nice. And it's mostly cosmetic, but most buyers don't want it because it doesn't look nice. And the other people don't want it because they want this big, amazing flip conversion stuff, which I've done those big projects. So I really done well at forcing value, buying below market value, spending anything from £6,000 to £10,000 on the refab. So not significant amounts. And then pushing the value profit margins. I never made less than 50K per one of them. So it was, again, maybe an accidental opportunity that I sort of not. I've obviously got a skill set in finding opportunity, but it wasn't much education around it. It was just like, wait a minute, I can force value. So most of the stuff I done was in that. I've done conversions, I've done other things as well, but majority of my portfolio I've always laid in that world.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
interesting. I'm
and
going to say the nitty gritty. Sorry to try to go the nitty gritty part. Every flip I done, I used to do them myself. I say myself, people worked with me, but at the start I done them myself, and every time. So any new investor or any listening to this, or unexperienced maybe, you start a flip or a conversion and you pull it all apart, and every single time I got petrified. I was like, why am I doing this? What? I don't even like this effort that I'm going through. But then when you finish, I'm sure you and I feel the same way. When you finish and get to the end, you're like, "Quite, I've got to do more." That is a real nitty gritty.
glutton for punishment. Yeah.
Every single time. So yeah, that is
Yeah.
definitely.
It's funny how you say, I mean, you said you don't like the big rehabs, and here in America, we have HGTV. I don't know if you have something like that in Britain, but it's in these shows, they're going into these houses and doing the absolute most you can do. They're tearing down walls, and that kind of gets people thinking that's what you should be doing, and going in and doing these massive rehabs. And I did those, and they sucked. In fact, one deal, it was like one of my first deals. I just didn't know enough about real estate, and it was a huge rehab. We really did a lot of work. And in the end we made, I think it was like $32,000, which might sound like a lot to people, but if you're talking about like 6 months of your time, it is nothing. It's like, it almost feels like you lost money. Even though you,
the talks, Gabe, I actually show my examples, and there's one I done, which is quite a big one, £500,000, one. And then I show the ones that I've done £100,000, and they see this big profit margin at the end where it made 100 grand. But again, the time outlay, cash you needed, blah, 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 compared to what that 100 grand one, but the percentage return on investment was nearly double on the 100.
yeah.
So for me, just put 5 of them into there rather than 1 of them. That was my logic, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't do flips anymore, but if I did a flip, I would be looking for the ones that you do flooring and paint, maybe some updates to the kitchen, like just the things that are apparent when you walk into the house, not like electrical, plumbing, anything like that. So that's interesting. You kind of came out with that realization, and I feel like that's what a lot of people should be taught when they're doing flips, is just don't do the major ones. You can't. I mean, there is money in them, but it's not worth a headache. Go out there, get the easy flips, do the ones that are just need a little bit of love.
In the US, I like, in the US, there's about 1.2 million companies for sale, between $1 and $5 million. So it's the same in real estate and companies. There's that little niche where you can really force value in those, because the big players don't want them and the everyday person can't do it. So for me, but everyone watches these TV programs and they just think that's what they should do and that's their education. And but look, I've done them. I sometimes do them, but I try to steer clear.
Yeah, absolutely. So 25, I mean, you made it 18 to 25, you went hard, and you did a lot of these flips. From 25 onward, it sounds like you kind of changed gears. You started looking a little more long-term holds, commercial, stuff like that. Tell us how that period of your investing career went.
So It was actually probably because I was never. It sounds like I was money driven. I was freedom driven, not money driven. So I got to a point where I could retire and not work again. And I met now my ex-wife. I thought, well, do you know what, I'm done. I don't need to be aggressive and doing all this. So yeah, for me, it become very passive in terms of like, again, still forcing the value, but I had a team that worked for me now. So when I found something that say was worth 150k and I can try and get it for 130 and it needs a few grand spent on it and push up to 200, I didn't really have to be hands on whatsoever. So it was very much long-term rentals slash commercials. I loved, I've done quite a number of HMO conversions. It's a really big thing in the UK, for example.
What's an HMO conversion?
So plan and permission changed quite significantly 6 years ago. And again, this is me knowing it's like most people didn't know this, but you did have to go through planning to convert a, let's say, 4-bedroom house into a 6-7 bedroom house of multiple occupancy. There's huge money in it because it's a GDV value rather than a bricks and mortar value. So tons of them. I educated people now to do them, and I've done loads of them.
Okay, so just I've never heard that term HMO. You said HMO.
Yeah,
so basically, what you're saying is you're rent by the room, but you're just adding rooms to the house. Okay.
And the opportunity comes because in the past you needed planning permission to do anything like that. But they changed that a number of years ago. So yeah, you could just buy a 4, 5, however many bedroom house.
Oh, you mean you had to get some kind of like variance or permit in order to do this, but now they don't have those rules. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
You get a license once it's done, but you don't need the plan and permission to do it. So it opened up again this huge opportunity where the super big players didn't want to touch it, and most property investors I work with today, more than 90%, don't even have a clue how to do those conversions and make money. Some people ask me to tell them, but I've got to be honest, it's worth a bloody bomb. So, like, people I mentor, I will show them because they're paying me, but I don't tend to give that trick away too much because it costs me if I do, because I lose opportunities. Because if every Tom, Dick and Harry knows how to do that, I can't take those. So I give it to a certain amount of people.
Yeah, we've had a number of people. I mean, that's a pretty well-known strategy here in the U.S., and we've had a number of people on the show that do that. It really only works in larger metros, metros where the the rental income or the median rental value is $3,000 a month or something like that. Downtown LA, New York, something like that. But yeah,
real skill set in it. And people who have dabbled it and have lost money because they don't understand that market well enough, so they go and do it in the wrong location or not finish it to the right level, or even the right level to suit planning permission in the UK, for example. So yeah, and I sort of missed a part, but in the last 10 years, I've done a lot in the UAE as well. So
oh, okay, cool.
In Dubai. The combination really. So it might sound like I was still doing it. I was, but to me, it was just more stuff that was brought to me. Even now, I said I wasn't going to buy anything this year.
And so you've done investments across different countries, different laws you have to learn, all that stuff. Do you find it difficult to learn the local real estate laws, or do you feel that everything is? Have you done stuff in the US? Have you invested in the US at all?
Yeah, I've worked stuff in the US. I think the US was actually my biggest challenge of learning, really. Actually, only because I find the US is so different state to state and so forth.
Yeah.
And it's so, I know it sounds silly, but it's such a large place as well. So when you're going from state to state and trying to understand, I nearly bought a couple of, back in 2010, I think I nearly bought a couple of Naples in Florida, So yeah, I think I found that because it's just so different state to state, whereas in most environments, it's smaller pockets. So yes, in England, for example, each council and government reads things differently, but the law is the same. What I found in the US, it can be quite different state from state. So I think that was big. So yeah, I think the thing is, I'm a bit of a nerd, so I love to learn. I've always wanted to learn. So the bit that I really love still today is Dubai's real estate market, because it's such a new market still. It's only 40 years old, so I love it because it's so diverse. and I get engaged with it. So yeah, it is difficult. You have to, the UK, I'm most definitely an expert in that world. I'm not going to portray to be an expert in every world. Dubai, I have people come to me from all over the world for Dubai. So those two locations I'm really clued up on. Spain as well, Cyprus. But other areas I'd never portray to be an expert. But what I do is just find people that actually do. And it's quite easy to know if they know what they're talking about, because I know enough about real estate to really push some questions on them that I might not know the answer, but I can tell if they do or don't.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And it's funny you mentioned how big the U.S. is. My wife sent me it's like a TikTok or something, and it was somebody, I think it was from England, and they were talking about how they were taking a vacation to the U.S. and they said, I'm going to see the Capitol. I'm going to go to Washington D.C. and then in the afternoon I'll go down to Miami, and then maybe I'll go over to L.A. And it's like, these are 6-hour flights you're talking about, man.
It's crazy.
Anyway.
Yeah, you do forget. I've done a few road trips of the US. Two of my best friends are professional footballers there for 8 years, and of soccer to you guys. Sorry,
Yeah.
The real football for anyone listening.
I think it should be called football. It only makes sense. It's one where you actually use your feet.
Used to do a lot of road trips to the US, and obviously I've done a lot of work there over the years. So you do forget though when you come from England's a little island really. So you go there, and the sheer distance between locations, you just forget until you're there, and then you realise.
Yeah, big place. Awesome. Well, hey, we are running down the clock. We've already passed the 15-minute mark, but I did want to ask about the future, your version of the future. People are saying all different things. The economy is going to go up, it's going to go down, it's going to go sideways. So I always like to ask people coming on the show, what do you see for the future in real estate? And how are you preparing for it?
So yeah, I think anytime there's opportunity. So if we're looking at the UK specifically, again, I'm not going to pretend to be an expert of the US. I only talk about Dubai and UK because I know everything there, or not everything, nearly. There's an 18-year cycle, for example, in the UK, where you get 7-year growth, stability, 7-year growth, crash. That's the norm in a 200 plus year average. And there's opportunity in every cycle.
Oh, sorry, I want to jump in there because we have that same cycle here in the U.S., but our history is not nearly as long as London or England's, and so you see that same cycle, but you see it throughout your entire the English history goes back to I don't even know.
Yeah, hundreds and hundreds of years of British history. So there's always that cycle, and obviously it can differ. COVID threw things out and about and whatnot, but for me, there's an opportunity at any side of it. And I know this sounds pretty vague to people, but I don't actually really care. Like for me, yes, the market in the UK, there's a highest sales in 10 years in February. So people then think, that means everyone's saying that the market's crashing here. How's it crashing if you've got the highest sales in history in 10 years? Do you know what I mean? Like it's just, there's always opportunity. So it doesn't really bother me, but I think the key is really understanding your market. So, and not just because you live there, that doesn't mean you know your market. So, Dubai, I get a little bit more. It's just such a new world that actually, how do you know? But the important part about Dubai is the developer. So if you invest in, I'm going to give myself. I'm friendly with a lot of the head developers and landowners there. So, but there's probably 3 or 4 developers that you're absolutely safe to invest with because they were always people just buy them because of the name. So Amar, I will name, for example, Amar, it doesn't matter what that development is, it will sell out tomorrow. So I think it's about knowing your market more importantly, because it doesn't matter where it's going. There's always opportunity. When crashes happens, that is the best time for investors, the absolute best time. So why we all get worked up about, there's a crash. No, that's when we make money.
Well, the key is to know generally when the crash is going to happen, and then those properties that you kind of want to get out of your portfolio anyways, you just sell them at the top and let the crash happen and
find the people who do know your market. If you don't know your market, be honest with yourself. If you don't know your market that well, we need to treat real estate as a business. So we have a board, in every business you'll have a board, and that board will have different skill sets. So if you don't know the answer, find it, because then you can. I remember I sold an apartment. I've only actually ever sold one apartment ever. I've sold thousands of properties because I actually own real estate companies that sell brokers and stuff like that. So we've sold thousands of properties. Personal ones, I've only sold one. And that was exactly because I could see what was coming and I knew that wasn't such a good thing to own. And I sold it just before a very good time. And unfortunately, the owner who bought off me was quite a big investor, to be honest, but he just had money. He wasn't an educated investor. He was just had money. And he took a hit on that when he wanted to resell it because he just didn't. But that was his fault. He didn't read the market. So yeah, you're right. You need to understand your market and your portfolio and what you want, because if you know what you want, you can start looking for that. Like in the UK, the Northeast is probably the best place to buy at the moment. But investors want to get a deal, but you can't get a deal because it's growing. So just pay it and then let it sit on the growth. So it is just knowing your market, but there's always opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, with that, I'm going to push us into the quick question round. Are you ready?
Yeah, I think.
Let's do it. Starts with education. It could be any form, could be a book you read, movie you've seen, conference you've been to, mentorship program you've been a part of, anything like that. I just need 2 recommendations, one for general life wisdom and then one for real estate.
So real estate, I should have thought about
or business. It could be business general or real estate. Yeah.
So for me, my learners in real estate was actually business. So I know you've probably heard this in most of your podcast spells, but that there's a books, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I just think it's an amazing. I know it's not real estate directed, but it's just an amazing book, and I know you've probably heard that before. But it really, we got my juices flowing.
It's probably recommended. I mean, I ask this question on every podcast, and probably 60% of the people say Rich Dad Poor Dad for good reason. Though it tells you why you should be investing in real estate.
Yeah, it gets you thinking. And then general wisdom, a book that I can't remember who wrote it. Some Nayal. Art of Being Indistractable. So it was a great book because there's so many distractions in our world now. That I just thought that was a really clever thing. And I thought I was pretty good at it. But even I learned some things from that book where I was like, oh, wow, that simple thing has changes and quite a lot. So yeah, those are the education. Those are 2 really good things.
Yeah, focus is a superpower. Being able to stay on one track for a long time without being distracted is, especially in today's world, it is really hard. But if you can do it, you're going to see results for sure. All right, next question is, usually I ask about the US, but since you're over there in England, we're going to say the world is a big place. There is a lot of opportunity out there. Give me the single city metro that you're most excited about investing in today.
Dubai.
Okay, Dubai. Oh, that's UAE. Okay, so Dubai, is that one city?
Yeah, Dubai is one part of the UAE. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Is there any specific area of Dubai? I know nothing about Dubai except for that it's in the UAE. Is there any specific area that you like about it?
Yeah, I do have my favorite areas. I think I mentioned it a little bit earlier. It's actually about the developers. Invest in the right developer because they all build their own projects and whole communities. So Ellington, Shoba, Imar, Nikhil. Nikhil. Those are like phenomenal. Sorry, the Mac guys will tell me off. But so the developers that you want to look at.
Nice. I like it. All right. Next question is about finding deals. It all starts with getting in contact with the seller and penning that purchase agreement. So what is your favorite way to generate leads and find new deals?
So, I guess I'll give you 2 quick answers because there's one when I was newer to it, and I'm sorry for anyone listening to us who thinks it's easy. It ain't bloody easy. So it was just hard graft and numbers, pure numbers. You probably have to reach out to 50 to get one, and that's the reality. 50 to get one, and that was the numbers game we played. Now, don't go wrong. You might get lucky and find more. So when you're in the earlier versions of where you're at, you have to put the numbers in. And I had one of my mentees message me the other day saying, "Oh, well, I'm not getting anywhere. How many have you looked at? 10. Well, I told you, you're not going to get anywhere ever." So that's, and then in terms of if you're a bit more scaled, it is that team. there's some amazing VAs out there in the world that you can give them that specific job sheet of, and they will smash out more numbers than I ever did.
Yeah. Yeah, people, that's one thing, people that I coach, people that I talk with, you guys don't realize how much volume you need in order to get results. In real estate, it is volume when you're talking about finding deals. And it's more than you think. It's not, you pick up the call, you call 10 people, you don't get a deal, and you're disheartened. I mean, just keep calling. Just do 1,000, and then you're going to find a deal.
I'm a bit lucky now, and I guess you probably are at that point as well, maybe, Gabe. But I don't actually need to look that much anymore because people come to me. Last week I agreed to buy one of my landlord's properties. They were like, "Look, Charlie, will you just take it off my hands for this?" I was like, "Well, I can sell it for more than that. So why would you let me?" They're like, "We just want it gone." I was like, "Oh, I'll buy it then." So I guess you do get to a point where, as long as you talk about what you're doing to people, and I'm sure you coach people this, talk about what you're doing, and people remember it. It might be 10 years down the line, but they remember it, and you get to that point where people come to you. So from fortunately, it's like sort of 3 stages. That one where you're doing all the bloody hard work yourself and sheer numbers, then that scaling phase where you can use teams to do it, and then you get to the point where deals come to you.
Yeah. Even then, I mean, I would even say in that scenario where, people come, they bring deals to me and I get to look at them, that is still a volume game because I've had so many conversations over the course of my career that it's like, of course, bringing deals to me. Yeah.
Always
It's
100%.
Yeah. All right. Next question is about lessons learned. Not every deal we get into goes the way we expect it. In fact, pretty much every time something goes wrong, and that's when we get to learn a lesson. So what was the deal that went a little bit sideways for you? And then what was the lesson you pulled from it?
I don't want to jinx myself. I've not had a deal that's gone sideways. I like I said, I was a weird child, so I always assumed the worst. And it sounds pessimistic. I'm a super optimist. I don't see anything that stops me doing what I want, but I always assume everything will go wrong whilst I'm doing it. So then I don't. So I think that, and I learned that because actually every single deal I've done, there is always something that you didn't know. So I think that is the big. Luckily, it wasn't a lesson I learned. It was something I already sort of weirdly decided I was going to factor in. And there was a good example semi-recently of a conversion I'd done 2 years ago. That went 55k over budget, which might not sound a lot, but when you've got people involved, that is percentage-wise quite high. But again, I told my guys it was going to go there anyway. So now, realistically, I didn't think there was any chance it would, but because of COVID, it drove prices to where I didn't think they were going to go material-wise. So yeah, I think that's the biggest lesson. Just assume everything you've factored in is wrong, and something else is going to go wrong, and then you should be okay.
Yeah. Yeah. When you do your initial underwriting, put on whatever the opposite of rose colored glasses are, put those glasses on, the black glasses or whatever.
We both would have seen this God knows how many times, where I had a guy that come into my office a month ago, and he stacked up this big conversion deal of commercial properties, apartments, blah, blah, blah. And it was just like, who's valued it? Well, I think we'll say you won't. It's just like, be realistic, be really harsh, because if you get out the end of it and it's worth what you originally thought, then amazing. But it ain't. And I think too many people, when I see people say stuff about property like, "Oh, they lost money," it's because they didn't do it properly. You don't lose money in real estate if you do it properly.
Yeah, yeah. If you buy right, you don't lose. That is for sure. All right. And that brings us to our second to last question. This one is about AI. This is a new question I've been asking, but AI is huge in my business now. And so I like to hear how people are implementing it in their own. So what is the most impactful way you've implemented AI in your business?
Well, I won't talk about ChatGPT because everyone knows ChatGPT, but ChatGPT was brilliant for basic stacking. It's not very good with numbers, if anyone is new. But I've been trialing a new thing now called Sintra, and I'm sure there's loads of versions of Sintra. Whereas the problem with ChatGPT, it's so generic that you constantly have to prompt it.
I do not like ChatGPT. It's like my least favorite of the.
When you start using others, you realise it's not very good.
Yeah.
It is good. So it's like the starter pack, shall we call it?
It's good if that's the only thing you got. If that's the only option, then yeah, it's good. But otherwise, there's better ones.
Sintra has bespoke bots for bespoke things. So, if it is like deal analysis, there will be one just purely for that. And I think
Oh,
people
cool.
like costs by not, they think, ChatGPT is only, I don't even know what it is, 50, 15, whatever it is a month. Whereas Sintra is more expensive, but equally it's a specialist in that. So yeah, I think that's been a bit of a game changer for me. It's still in the trial phase because I don't think anything's perfect, but time wise, blimey, it cuts time out and
Yeah.
staff. But staff are every business owner's best and worst things. So you can get rid of those negative Nellies pretty quickly with AI.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's developing just the entire genre of AI is developing, or industry rather, is developing so quickly that I'm constantly using new apps and I'm just blown away by them. So
But
it'll be
obviously, I'm
interesting.
sure there's other versions of that. I created. It sounds a bit dodgy. It's called a Pocket Charlie. Or it does sound a bit dodgy, but for my my regular customers, because I get a lot of messages a day, and sometimes I might wait. I don't know how long for a reply. So it's like an AI version that scraped everything about me. So again, a bespoke bot about it's created me, and it will answer things instantly as I would. It always has a carry out saying, "This is AI, Charlie," because so I don't get in trouble in case it says something I wouldn't say. But it's
Yeah.
quite scary. It's better than me. Um, and
It
I
knows
stress
it's more me than I am me.
I stress tested the hell out of it, and I'm like, "Oh, that knows me better than I know me." I think so.
That's funny.
That's a clever tool as well. If you're a coach or mentor, getting one of those bots made where the run of the mill stuff can just be answered bang, bang, bang how you would. Then it's quite
Yeah.
cool.
Nice. Yeah, I'll have to. That is not one that I've heard of, so I'll have to check that out and see
Well,
how it
that's
goes.
actually a bespoke bit of AI. That's not. It's not called Pocket Charlie. I just call it.
No, I was talking about the Sintra. The Sintra one.
Oh yeah, Sintra. Yeah, and I'm sure there's other versions, but Sintra was the one I found. I'm
Yeah.
sure there's other versions.
Yeah. Cool. All right, man. Well, that leads us to the very last question. This is for the listeners. You've given us a lot to think about. I'm sure people want to reach out, get in contact with you. This is a two-parter. Where can they find you? And then what can they expect when they reach out?
So you can reach me in lots of places, whether that's my website and email, which is charliepanayi.com. The quickest response, weirdly enough, is the only social media I look at myself. I don't go on it daily, but is Instagram, which again is just Charlie_Panayi. If you reach out to me, I'm a pretty direct guy, so like, be direct with me. Don't fluff around. Just say what you want, and then you're gonna get an answer. So I'm quite direct. I love. If you look into me, Gabe, you see I've got lots of philanthropy awards. I love community things. I love getting involved with charity related stuff as well. So like, I don't mind what you reach out to me about as long as it's reasonable.
Nice. I will put that link in the show notes. So if you guys want to reach out to Charlie, all you got to do is click the little more in the description. It'll pull down that full description, and in there you can find his link. All right, man. That wraps it up. Thank you very much for hopping on the show.
Perfect. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. For everybody who's with us today, thank you guys for showing up. You are the reason we do this. So if you guys have any questions, reach out to me, Gabe, at therealestateinvestingclub.com. If you guys want to support the show, just leave us a review, comment, anything like that. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great week. Keep rocking real estate, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.